Imagine turning your hand toward the light, noticing the subtle creases and curves etched into your palm. Among those lines, you spot something that captures your attention, a shape resembling the letter M. It feels curious, as if your hand is whispering something mysterious about your life. Maybe you've heard whispers of palmistry or seen memes about this M mark. But what if it truly carries clues about your character, your path, or your potentials? In this video, we'll explore the idea of the M on the palm in a grounded way. What people say it means, how to see it with clarity, and most importantly, how to use that insight as a springboard for self-discovery and growth. Before we get into the heart of this, if you're new here, please consider liking the video and subscribing. That helps us reach others who might also be intrigued by these ideas. Okay, let's dive in. A brief note on palmistry and perspective. First, a quick word on palmistry itself. Reading palms has roots in many cultures across centuries: India, China, ancient Greece, and beyond. Different traditions assign different meanings to lines and shapes. Some see it as a symbolic, reflective tool rather than a deterministic fortune-telling system. Regardless of the historical debates, one useful approach is to treat palm reading as a prompt for self-reflection. When you notice a certain formation, you pause, observe yourself and ask, does this symbol reflect something in my life? How might I grow in light of this? That mindful stance can make the practice more enriching than simply predicting fate. With that in mind, let's look at the M formation. How to recognize it, what traditions often say about it, and critically, how you can translate that into practical steps on your journey. Spotting the M in your palm. Gently open your hand and study the main lines. The lifeline arcs around the base of your thumb. The mind, or headline, cuts across roughly the middle of your palm. The heart line runs beneath the fingers, curving in ways that vary by person. Sometimes a fourth line, the fate or luck line, runs upward from the base of the palm. When portions of these lines intersect or align in a way that resembles an M, many traditions say the M mark is present. For some people, it's bold and clear. The lines converge distinctly. For others, it may be subtle, a faint intersection that appears only at certain angles or when you press gently. Neither case is better or worse. The key is to observe without judgment and note what you feel as you look. Remember, some hands form an obvious M, others less so. It can appear on one hand or both. Traditionally, readers might say the dominant hand, the one you use most, reflects your current life path, while the other hand shows potential or inherited traits. But rather than fixate on strict rules, notice what resonates for you personally. Underlying themes often linked to the M. Across many palmistry guides, the M formation is said to signal certain broad themes: insight, leadership, intuition, and sometimes a measure of challenge to be overcome. Rather than listing a long checklist, let's focus on a few core ideas. 1. Awareness and intuition. The M is often tied to heightening your inner radar, your ability to sense patterns, notice subtleties in conversations, and pick up on undercurrents around you. If you feel drawn to reflect deeply or sense hidden dynamics in relationships or projects that may align with this theme, it's less about supernatural powers and more about cultivating self-awareness, observing your own thoughts and feelings, tuning into others' moods, and learning from small signals in daily life. 2. Potential for leadership or influence. Another common interpretation is that the M denotes an ability to lead or influence others, whether in a team, a community, or through creative expression. This doesn't necessarily mean spotlight fame. It can show up as quietly guiding family decisions, inspiring friends by example, or bringing people together for a shared cause. The emphasis is on recognizing that you may naturally attract trust or respect, and with that comes responsibility to stay grounded and authentic. 3. Life lessons through challenge. Traditions often mention that even auspicious signs come with tests. The M-bearer might encounter moments of procrastination or uncertainty, times when inner doubts or distractions pull you away from your path. That tendency toward inaction or laziness can arise when potential is high. The larger the vision, the more daunting it can feel to take the next step. Recognizing this pattern is valuable. Once you see it, you can choose strategies to maintain focus and momentum. 4. Balance of mind, heart, and action. Because the M involves the lifeline, mind line, and heart line meeting, it suggests an opportunity to weave health, bodily energy, thought, clarity, and creativity, and emotion, compassion, and sincerity together. When those aspects align in daily habits, caring for your well-being, nurturing constructive thinking, and acting from a place of empathy, you create a grounded platform to pursue goals that matter to you. These themes are not rigid predictions but lenses to reflect on yourself. If an idea resonates, you can explore it further in your life. If it doesn't, you can set it aside. The goal is not to be bound by a symbol, but to use it as a mirror for personal insight. Which hand? Considering dominant versus non-dominant. Some palmistry traditions emphasize whether the M appears on the right hand, left hand, or both, and sometimes link that to masculine-feminine energies. Rather than focusing on gender assignments, we can think more neutrally. One hand may show your natural tendencies or innate gifts, sometimes called the non-dominant or passive hand, while the other, dominant or active hand, reflects how you express those gifts in your current life. For example, if the M is on your dominant hand, you might already be engaging that insight or leadership quality in daily life. You may feel drawn to projects or roles that let you guide, advise, or create. If it's on your non-dominant hand only, it could point to latent potential or qualities you haven't yet fully expressed. You could consider ways to bring that energy into your routines, perhaps trying new activities that stretch your comfort zone. If it's on both hands, many readers say this amplifies the message. You may have strong intuition and drive on both inner and outer levels. This can be empowering but also demands balance, so you don't overextend or lose sight of self-care. Rather than seeing these as strict rules, notice how these ideas sit with you. Ask, does thinking of one hand as untapped potential prompt me to try something new? Does seeing it on my active hand confirm strengths I already notice? Use this reflection to guide small experiments. Maybe keep a journal on days you follow an intuitive nudge, or commit to a short leadership task. Observe how it feels. Personality tendencies and growth areas. If you identify with some interpretations of the M sign, say, feeling naturally intuitive or drawn to help others through advice or creative expression, notice how this shows up in everyday life. Do you often find yourself mediating disagreements among friends? Do you have flashes of insight about solutions before others catch on? That can be a gift. But also ask, where might you slip into overthinking or hesitation? Are there moments when you hold back from acting because you worry it won't be perfect? A common caution linked to the M is a tendency toward procrastination or inaction. When opportunities arise, sometimes the mind can spin in circles. Is this the right move? Should I wait? And before you know it, time slips by. Recognizing that pattern is the first step. You see how the mind's over-analysis or fear of failure may block forward movement. To counteract this, consider simple habits. Set small, concrete goals each day that move you toward a larger vision. For example, if you sense a leadership calling but feel uncertain how to begin, start by volunteering to organize a small gathering or share a short piece of writing on a topic you care about. Notice how momentum builds when you take even imperfect action. Over time, these small steps reinforce confidence and help you overcome inertia. Similarly, if you sense strong empathy and sometimes absorb others' emotions too deeply, it can drain your energy. The M interpretation around balancing mind and heart suggests cultivating clear boundaries. Practices like short daily pauses, mindfulness exercises, or setting aside time for quiet reflection. By tuning into your own needs first, you can then offer genuine support to others without depleting yourself. Health and well-being, a foundational layer. Because palmistry often includes the lifeline, which some say relates to vitality, think of this as a reminder. No matter your ambitions or insights, taking care of your body and energy is essential. This might mean simple routines, regular movement, walking, stretching, light workouts, adequate rest, and nourishing meals. Notice how physical well-being supports mental clarity and emotional balance. When you feel sluggish, it can intensify procrastination or cloud intuition. Conversely, when you sleep well and move your body, your mind often feels sharper and your feelings more stable. If the M resonates as a symbol of potential and life momentum, let it prompt you to check in. Are you getting enough rest? Are you fueling your body in ways that sustain energy? Even small tweaks, drinking more water, taking brief movement breaks, pausing screens before bed, can make a difference. Think of these habits not as chores, but as foundational acts that honor the potential the M symbolizes. Cultivating intuition and insight. The idea of an intuitive gift tied to the M can be seen as an encouragement to develop inner listening. Intuition often arises when the mind is calm. Practices that support this include quiet reflection. Even 5 minutes a day of sitting quietly, noticing thoughts and sensations without judgment, helps you observe patterns. Journaling. Writing down hunches, dreams, or subtle impressions can reveal recurring themes. Over time, you may see how certain insights guided good choices. Mindful observation. Throughout the day, pause briefly before decisions or conversations. Notice initial impressions or gut feelings. Test them gently. Does acting on small intuitive nudges lead to helpful outcomes? This feedback loop builds trust in your inner guidance. By treating intuition as a skill rather than a mysterious gift, you empower yourself to refine it. The M can be a reminder. Pay attention to those soft signals, but verify them with practical checks. For instance, if you feel drawn to reach out to someone for collaboration, start with a low-stakes message and observe the response, rather than assuming grand results immediately. Leadership and influence. Serving with integrity. If you sense a pull toward guiding or inspiring others, remember that authentic leadership often comes from service and vulnerability. The M narrative about prominence in one's field can be translated into everyday acts. Sharing what you learn, encouraging peers, or leading by example in small communities. Authenticity builds trust. Speak honestly about challenges and successes. This invites others to relate and follow. At the same time, watch for pitfalls. Overconfidence, impatience with others who move at a different pace, or feeling pressured to perform. If you notice impatience, pause and consider. How can I meet people where they are? How can I offer support without rushing? Leadership grounded in empathy and openness often yields more lasting results than pushing too hard. Offer yourself chances to lead in low-stakes settings, volunteer for a local group project, mentor someone in a skill you know, or create content, writing, videos, etc., that shares ideas clearly. Observe what feels natural and where you feel energized versus drained. Use that feedback to refine your approach. Balancing ambition with rest. One theme tied to the M is intense dedication. Once focused, people may work late into the night on projects they care about. While passion is a gift, it can also lead to burnout if rest is neglected. Treat the M as a nudge toward balance. Schedule periods of rest and playful activities alongside work. Notice how stepping away from intense tasks can bring fresh ideas when you return. Embrace structured pauses, short breaks during work sessions, and days off where you do something unrelated to your main goals. Reflect on past experiences. Times when you pushed too hard and felt drained, versus times when you paced yourself and felt sustained energy. Use these insights to plan your workflow. This balance honors both the drive the M symbolizes and your well-being. Handling setbacks and uncertainty. Even with a symbol of promise, life brings unpredictability. The M interpretation around facing hurdles can remind you challenges are part of growth. When plans derail or you hit a block, view it not as failure, but as information. Ask, what can I learn here? How might this redirect me towards something better? This mindset shift transforms obstacles into teachers. Practically, when you feel stuck, try a simple journaling exercise. Write down the situation, your feelings, and one question such as, "What is the smallest next step I can take?" Often clarity emerges when you break a big issue into tiny actions. Over time, you cultivate resilience, which is itself a key ingredient of success. Putting it all together, a personal action plan. Rather than a long list of points, consider weaving a few ongoing practices inspired by the M themes. 1. Daily check-in. Spend a few minutes each morning or evening reviewing. How am I feeling physically, mentally, emotionally? Note any insights or intuitions that arise about your day or projects. 2. Small step. Execution. Identify one small concrete action toward a goal. It could be drafting an outline, sending a message, or practicing a skill for 10 minutes. Celebrate completing it. Over time, these increments accumulate into momentum. 3. Mindful pause. When you feel overwhelmed or procrastination creeping in, pause and breathe. Remind yourself of your larger intention. Return with a narrowed focus. What is one thing I can do right now? This counters inertia. 4. Reflection journal. Once a week, jot down experiences, moments when intuition guided well, times you led or supported someone, instances of overwork or rest. Note lessons learned and adjustments to make. 5. Self-care. Rituals. Schedule simple rituals that sustain energy. A short walk, stretching session, healthy meal, or a few minutes of relaxation before bed. These honor the lifeline aspect and keep you grounded. 6. Community connection. Share insights with trusted friends or groups. Hearing others' stories about similar challenges or gifts can broaden your perspective and reinforce that you're not alone on this path. You don't need to follow all at once. Pick 1 or 2 practices that feel natural. Over time, as these habits integrate into life, you'll likely notice a shift, greater clarity, steadier motivation, and a sense that you're moving in alignment with your deeper purpose. A gentle caveat: free will over determinism. It's important to remember, a palm sign does not lock you into a fixed destiny. Think of the M as a prompt, a poetic invitation to explore certain qualities, not a rigid forecast. You remain the author of your story. If some interpretation doesn't resonate, simply set it aside. If an idea sparks curiosity, experiment with related practices. Use any insight to enhance your self-awareness and choices, rather than feeling bound or limited. This mindset ensures that palmistry serves as a supportive mirror, not a dictating force. You have agency. Your actions, decisions, and reflections shape your life more than any line on your palm. The M symbol can be a reminder of potential and responsibility. With awareness and effort, you can align more closely with your values and aspirations. Stories and sharing. Collective exploration. Many people enjoy hearing anecdotes. Someone notices their M, starts exploring intuition, and then sees small synchronicities or growth. While these stories are personal and not universal proof, they can inspire reflection. If you or friends have experiences around noticing patterns, intuitive hits, or shifts in focus after seeing an M, sharing these can spark dialogue. Consider inviting viewers to comment or discuss in a community space. Have you spotted this formation? What did you notice in yourself afterward? Such conversations can deepen understanding and foster support. Closing reflection and encouragement. So if you look at your palm and spot an M, take it as an opportunity. Pause, breathe, and reflect. What does this stir in me? Where might I channel my intuition, leadership, or creativity? Where have I felt stuck? And how could small, steady steps move me forward? How can I balance ambition with rest, empathy with healthy boundaries? Use these prompts to design simple daily practices that resonate with you. Over weeks and months, these small experiments accumulate. You may find new confidence in decision-making, a steadier flow of ideas, or a more compassionate approach toward yourself and others. Even if the M fades in focus over time, the habits you cultivate remain: self-awareness, resilience, and purposeful action. Thank you for exploring this with me. If this resonated, please like and share the video so others can reflect on their own palms and potentials. Subscribe for more content on self-discovery, mindful living, and inner growth. And most of all, remember, the lines on your hand may spark insight, but it's your daily choices and effort that write your story. Use this moment to notice your potential and take a simple step forward today.